please come see me after the clinic. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. And without further ado, please give a warm welcome to George Lynch.
All right, thank you. Why am I out of breath? That's weird, just playing guitar. But playing guitar is hard, right? No, but it's actually a workout. It's actually burn a lot of calories because thinking uses a lot of calories. Your brain uses up like half the calories that you use. So when you're playing, most guitar players think a lot. I don't, which is why I'm not losing weight right now, but yeah. Now I just play sort of just off the top of my head. I'm not I don't know theory. I'm not a trained, schooled musician, so to speak. I'm just sort of self-taught. And I have my own sort of theory about intervals and the fretboard. And that's basically it. And I just sort of play from the head and the heart, mostly heart. Because when I start thinking, I start screwing up a lot. I don't know if you noticed, but on that song I just played to right now, I was a half step out of key for the first half of the song. Right. So you thought, this guy's either an idiot or he's a genius. The stuff I was playing to is, this is all brand new for me. I just got this laptop last night, and I installed this program, which is Neural DSP, which has become highly recommended by this gentleman named Tosin Abasi, who hooked me up. And so I'm very excited about using this. So I was up early this morning. I was been playing with it, and I just got the interface as well, the Apollo Arrow, which is wonderful. And I'm having fun with it. I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. Try to fit into the brave new world, being an old guy, old school guy, old tubes and everything. And I'm not really a technology guy. I'm not good with this stuff, but you guys help me out. I appreciate that. The people that work here, and so I'm trying this out. This DSP is it's called Archetype. Abasi is the program, I guess you would call it. And I'm playing along to this material I'm working with. It's a record that I've been working on for a few months called Gen Rev. It's Tony Franklin on bass, Brian Tichy on drums, and a mystery singer that I can't name. But anyways, it's interesting. It's a lot of fun. This is just stuff that we're working on. This is not finished or anything. As you noticed, there's already a solo on it. I forgot that, so I'm playing along to my own solo. But that's all right, right? I'm just winging it here. So yeah, I'm going to play along to a couple more tracks, and then we can, if anybody has any questions, and don't necessarily have to be about me, we can stop talking about me and talk about music in general or anything you want to talk about. And then I'm going to fire it back up with, I think we have a bass player and a drummer, right? Set up to jam? Bam. So we don't know each other, right? Have we ever met before? Nope.
The drummer's right there and the bass player.
Have we ever met before, sir? And nope. We haven't talked on the phone. We don't have a plan. We don't have a set list. We don't even know if we're tuned in the same key. Right? No, I'm not kidding. We're just going to wing it, so that could be good or bad. So we'll do that for a second, and maybe signing. We're doing signing. So we probably brought some 8x10s and all that kind of good stuff, ESP stuff.
We got customers' guitars for you to sign and what.
Okay, great. And we can sign guitars, I sign everything but body parts. And we just realized backstage that this is the 45th anniversary of ESP, which is pretty amazing. I've been with them. We're trying to figure it out. I think 87, so it'd be like maybe 33 years-ish. Yeah. After the first 25, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. But yeah, no, I'm honored to be representing ESP and be part of the family. It's really been an incredible journey, quite honestly, and to have something consistent in your life for that long, which is a rare thing, right? When we've been around a while, I've come to realize that. A lot of things come and go. But ESP remains forever. Yeah, no. Well, I don't know about that. But anyways, I'm going to keep going here. So we'll talk again in a little bit, all right? track down or the guitar up. really anything that was really commercially done. I think I put it out by myself. It was just a love project. And I had a property called Stonehouse in Northern California. It was up in the mountains. It's a hand-built place. It was the stone house on top of the mountain. And it was, I converted this barn built in the 40s, all built by hand out of redwood and stone. And converted into a studio. My brother and I spent about a year building the studio. And then I got together with Matt from Saigon King and another gentleman, programmer, and we held ourselves up in the barn for, I don't know, a month or so. We came up with all this stuff. It ended up being an EP, I think, or something. But I just really love it, and it's just not your typical heavy rock stuff necessarily, but that's what I love about it. This is I guess the last thing I'll play here. This is called "Deep in the Wound." Again, I got to find the keys. So give me a second. So, all right. Well, I guess we're done with the laptop experiment. Let me take a drink of water here and just get my breath. And if you guys want to ask any questions or discuss anything, that's what I'm here for. And then we'll get back to music and do some signing. Does that sound cool? Yeah.
Hey, when Ace Frehley quit Kiss, and then when Vinnie Vincent got fired, were you ever asked to audition for Kiss?
I've never been asked to join any band ever in my life. And I'm not kidding. I've been waiting. I've been like, my wife's like, honey, what's wrong? Why do you keep staring at the phone? Why are you crying? And it's like, Judas Priest's not calling. Whitesnake's not calling. No, Dokken's not calling. Nobody's calling. No, the thing is that I think I have a very kind of, sort of just, I'm kind of my own player. You know, I'm not really good at fitting in other situations. Not personally, but just, I've never been in a cover band, so I don't know very many cover songs. You know, I'm not good at picking up stuff and fitting in other boxes. I've always created my own box. You know, since I was a little kid, I've heard this stuff in my head, and I keep following it, you know what I mean? Keep chasing that dragon until I catch it by the tail one day, which will never happen, of course. Thank God. But I love it. But it's sort of, you know, just keep, you know, trying to create I'm saying my world, but the thing that I hear, which is not Whitesnake, and it's not Judas Priest or anything like that. You know, it's kind of Kiss. Oof. Hey, you know, as we get older, we're all like kind of just, you know, take one for the team, sure. I'll take the Kiss gig for $1 million a week, you know, why not? But who knows? No, but nobody's been calling, you know.
Who's the vocalist on the new Lynch Mob?
Oh, new Lynch Mob. Yeah. Actually, I went a little different this time. Got a whole new band next year. We're doing a whole bunch of shows with Dokken next year. So us opening up, yeah, it'll be super fun. So you know, the little bit of competitiveness there. There's that rivalry, which I think is good, because you know, at the end of the day, we're entertainers and we're there to, you know, would create an event, something worth, you know, spectator sport. So a little bit of that competition, I think, is very, very healthy. But you know, we all love each other, and we'll just go out there and we'll kick ass. We'll try to kick their ass, and they'll try to kick our ass, and that makes for a good show. And then I come out at the end, and me and Don kiss and hug and make up, and I do 4 songs with Dokken. Yeah, so
Are you guys coming from San Diego?
at this moment, we don't have a gig in San Diego yet. No, we have a Costa Mesa gig at the amphitheater. But I was going to answer your question, which was the singer on the new Lynch Mob record. Hold on a second. Let me get. To back up, Lynch Mob has evolved into quite a revolving door band, and I've just learned to accept that. Stop trying to fight the inevitable. It's never going to be that band of brothers where it's just the 4 guys forever, like Zeppelin, that you grow to love, and each personality, like the Beatles. You know, it's not going to be that. It's just but everybody that comes through the doors and in and out the door, we're friends, and you know, all have respect for each other. And there's been very few ugly departures from the band. So as of this moment, the band is Brian Tichy again on drums, and Michael Devon is going to be playing some of the shows, the bass player from Whitesnake, who was in Lynch Mob at one point, and then also, and I know this is confusing, Tony Franklin may be playing some shows, and then as far as the singer, Joe Retta is singing on the new album. And I think you're going to love it. I mean, he is that bluesy guy that's just, you know, Al Green, Aretha Franklin, Paul Rogers, you know, but in the context of our music, you know, it's just, and the record itself is very interesting and strange in a great way. I think it's definitely out of the box for Lynch Mob, anyways. I mean, it goes down a Mr. Bungle road for a second, so that's how out of the box it is. But in a good way. I don't want to scare you. As far as on tour, Oni's going to be singing. Yeah, the original singer. But that could change tomorrow, you know. And I'm okay with it. Oh, thank you, sir. What's this pill that you put in here? It says roofie?
Hey, George, quick, I got a statement and then a question. And the statement is,
When you said a statement, you worried me. I thought you meant like a bill.
no,
Like an
it's
invoice.
like, you know, when people, like, it seems like when George Lynch comes up, you get thrown in, you know, to the school of shredders, which of course you belong there. But I do want to say, I think a lot of times something that's overlooked is that you're a great songwriter. You know, I happen to think that you're a great songwriter. And I've been listening to the first couple Lynch Mob albums in my car over the last couple months, and it doesn't get talked about enough. You know, the work that you put into arrange great music and great songs and chords, besides just being like the shred guy. You know?
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the compliment. But if I was really a really good songwriter, I'd only have to write one song. But instead, I've had to write like 600 fucking songs. Still not fucking Hey Jude yet.
The question was, I wonder,
Hey Dude. You saw that movie, right?
No, I haven't.
What was that movie? Yesterday. Yeah, it's awesome.
I just wonder if you could expand a little bit on like your preference and your interest in the wider necks. Like, I know you were a pioneer of the hot rod guitars in the late 70s.
I haven't been a pioneer. I'm just ripping off shit from other people. Song-wise, guitar-wise, everything-wise. But thank you again for the compliment. No, I'm really haven't come up with anything original. There was this one thing, but I can't remember what it was. But other than that, but that's human nature, is just build on the shoulders of our predecessors, and that's what we're designed to do, and that's what makes us collectively powerful, is that we need each other. Nobody does it alone. I don't care what anybody says. There's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. We all need each other. I'm a firm believer in altruism and empathy, and I believe that I'm just part of the process. And I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to exercise false humility here. Well, maybe I am a little bit, but because I am fucking awesome. No, but anyways, I'm just kidding. I know, I'm confused, and I'm not sure what I think about myself. But enough about me. What do you think of my last album?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
No. I'm just wondering, like, what got you interested in wider necks? Like the wider nut width? And,
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, okay. All right. And like the flatter radius, was it just easier to play?
That was the Charvel thing.
Okay.
I used to go up, back in the day when I was teaching at road school and all that stuff, and building, sort of, not really building guitars, but sort of bolting stuff together, and selling to my students. I had students at a little record store called Best Records in Cerritos, and then I taught up at Musonia as well. And I had a 72 Oldsmobile and lived in an apartment with my wife and 2 kids in Anaheim. And we were pretty much broke all the time. So Mrs. Rhodes was paying me $10 an hour. Well, it took me $10 in gas, just to get up there. So I had to supplement my income. So I would put these guitars together. So I'd go up to Charvel, and I'd go to San Dimas, and I'd go to Mighty Mite, me and my buddy, and we'd buy bodies and necks and parts, and we'd paint them and bolt them together and wire them up, and I'd sell them to my students. But what happened one day was I was in class in Musonia, and I had a couple of students. I was delivering guitars, and money was being exchanged, a big wad of cash, and I was handing over a guitar. And right at that moment, Mrs. Rhodes kicked in the door and was like, "We need to talk." Because I was doing business in Musonia, which was not ethical, I guess. So she wanted a piece of the action, and then she fired me. Yeah, that's my Musonia story.
Okay.
Yeah. You wanted something more uplifting, I'm sure, right? Yeah. But I'd go up to Charvel, and I'd spend the night up there with Grover and his wife, and we'd hang out, have dinner, and then we'd just be in the wood shop all day. And what I would do is I'd just pick out stuff that was in the wood pile, because they'd have blams or, seconds or whatever, make mistakes, and they would throw it out, but they'd cut it in half first so nobody else could use it. So anything that was usable, I'd pick it up. It'd be like $20. So the Tiger, for instance, the Tiger guitar was a $20 body. Heavy Northern Ash. Took it home. Me and my friend Irv Veach painted it with nitrocellulose lacquer. Slapped a neck on it, slapped a bunch of parts. The guitar cost me under $100. I just sold that guitar for $125,000. Yeah. Want me to build you a guitar?
I thought about it. Do you still prefer the wider necks?
Yeah, but I could play anything. I mean, I have a Linhof Telly that I love. I've got, various ESPs that have all different neck dimensions. I have Les Pauls. I mean, I don't care. I mean, as long as it's a good neck, good at what it does, if it's high radius and, it doesn't matter as long as it's set up right and it's built well, doesn't matter. It makes you play a little different, obviously.
Hey, I'm Big Frog from the Metal Shop Podcast. I'm a big fan.
We were supposed to do an interview, but you didn't show up.
Yeah, see,
Somebody said you went and got something to eat.
we're gonna do it after.
I drove 4.5 hours to be here to be with,
Wrong interviewing.
and I didn't eat because I didn't want to be late. I goes, where's what's it, podcast, metal? Oh.
Just to save him, that's the different interviewer.
I know, I was just kidding. I don't even know who you are, dude.
So since the 80s, since I was working in guitar shops, people have been after that George Lynch sound.
Who?
George, everyone.
George Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh, and Warren
So my
DiMartino.
question
This sounds
is,
better.
are you now just happy being the owner of that George Lynch sound, or are you still looking for something that eludes you?
It's neither one, actually. It's more like, it's not like I'm married to any sound or think there's a George Lynch sound. I just keep chasing the sound that I'm trying to achieve, right? And it's elusive. But the thing is, that's why I'm a gear freaking monster. I mean, that's my whole, I'm so passionate about gear. That's when I go on the road every day, I go to little music stores, and that's all I think about when I look online, and it's just like, that's all me and my friends talk about. I'm just a gear animal because it's the machine that translates what's in here to, out here. So it's so important, and I'm so tone dependent. I'm not like a lot of players that can just play on anything. I mean, I guess I could a little bit, but very tone dependent. So it's just, I love the quest. I don't love the destination as much as the quest, Because, it's just crazy because there's, what's better than Band of Gypsies? How can we ever get better than Hotel California or Stairway to Heaven or anything, You can't beat that, and we shouldn't even try, I guess, I don't even know what I'm doing, actually. You know what? I quit. I'm going to get a real job.
Somebody else's question. They said you had the Ozzy gig twice. No?
I was in it for like a second, kind of. Like I traveled to Europe with them and rehearsed with them in Texas and stuff like that. But they didn't really like me, I don't think, because I had short hair. And Ozzy's wife didn't like my guitar because it was green and she thought it looked like a booger. Why is your guitar green? Why'd you cut your hair? But Ozzy was bald, and I can get a different guitar. Whatever. I'll tell you what, though. You know what they were going to pay me for that gig? $250 a week. But I'm sure by now I'd be making like $325. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't get Ozzy. Dokken rules, dude.
Who knows? That's one of those butterfly effect moments, Had I turned left or right, everything would have been different. I'm happy right now, so maybe I wouldn't have been happy. Maybe a lot of things could have happened. I don't know.
Right.
We never know, right? No way to find out.
Was your main delay in the docking days a Lexicon BCM 41?
Is there what?
Your main delay in the docking days?
Oh, yeah, I used the 41 a lot, but I was not a fan of it. I never got around to getting a 42, which is what Warren uses, which is why he has a better sound than me. 42 is a lot richer. It has that rich Lexicon, whatever is that algorithm on that chip, which is very proprietary to Lexicon. And I still use the Lexicon stuff in the studio. That's my favorite stuff. I do like these SD 3000s as well. Those are my kind of second favorite. The Lexicons are very hard to use, they're tricky. Yeah, they got just a very majestic, low-mid kind of depth to them that I love. It's very musical and not tinny at all. But I like these SD 3000s. I'm going to plug through these in a second here when we get the band up here and fire it up. Yep.
I noticed in a lot of your music that a lot of the the lyrics and songs are geared towards like enlightenment and to a higher connection, and it's almost subliminally or elusively. And unless I'm just strange and that's what I'm pulling out of it, but I find it all over in your music, in a lot of things, especially like on Lynch Pilsen and even some of like Souls of We, but it's all over. And with Ultraphonics as well, that was definitely geared towards enlightenment and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering if that, because to me, I started noticing that come in actually in Dysfunctional and even in Syzygy, but was there a triggering moment to where you started going after?
Well, I got to.
I'm not talking about God per se. I'm just talking about our quantum connection.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is. I'm not saying this isn't the venue to talk about quantum mechanics and spirituality and philosophy, but I am an animal. I'm very interested in I read voraciously and study, different philosophies and science as a layman. Don't know anything, but I'm, on that eternal, interesting search. It's just fascinating to me. I love it. The interconnectedness of everything. One of my favorite books of all time is Esther Gödel Bach by Hofstadter. It's a Pulitzer Prize-winning book written in the 90s. And it's a fascinating connection between mathematics and recursiveness, basically. Pi, the golden ratio, the number that binds the universe, including music, frequencies together. And, that's your intelligent design. No creator needed. Whoa. So, yeah, no, I do think about things sometimes.
What's your favorite solo to play?
Oh, I don't play any of my solos verbatim. So I'm still creating on stage. You know what I mean? So I'm still, when I play solos in the studio, I'm just making shit up. I don't have anything planned, except for one solo, which is Tooth and Nail. It was the only one I had pre-planned, which is the best solo I ever recorded, so I should probably do more of that. But everything else is spontaneous, meaning I compose it in the studio. So when I play live, I don't recreate. The audience doesn't experience the recreative moment. They're experiencing the creative moment. So I'm like on a high wire act. I'm like the Flying Melindas without a net. So I may fall off and, train wreck or go to higher ground. I don't know. They don't know. And I like that. I love that because it's immediate. So, there's only 2 days in the year that we can't change, yesterday and tomorrow. So I try to live in the moment, and especially musically, I've learned that lesson to get out of my own way, is just to trust the universe and let it flow through me, not to sound too new age or anything weird, but whatever that is, I don't know how to put a name on it, but if I try to think for myself sometimes, I play like shit, and then if I just relax and breathe, I play better. So that's, for me, that's what, it's a pretty dumb, simple lesson, but it was a hard lesson to learn, quite honestly.
What are some of your 70s influences?
Oh, dude. Late 60s up until late 70s is my era, my golden, to me it was the golden age of music for guitar players, because I grew up with, my father would have me listen to jazz music and flamenco music, and that's what I sort of, learning Malagueña and Charlie Bird and stuff like that. Not verbatim necessarily too much, but playing along with it and so forth. And then the Beatles came along. I listened to a lot of R&B before that, soul music and things like that. And then Beatles came along, and that captured the whole universe, of course, for a while. And then, of course, the British invasion with the Four Horsemen, Clapton, Beck, Hendrix, and Page. That was it. And to be raised at that point in time, and to be a guitar player and a kid playing in your garage band, and that's your first record you're buying, is like Zeppelin 1. I'm really, really lucky, because the rest of you motherfuckers just heard about it, but I was there. Yeah, I can remember sitting in my drummer I played with, Steve Moore's bedroom. I lived with him and for a while, and we practiced in his garage, and he had our little turntable, and we dropped that needle, and whoa, oh my God, we got to go in the garage and try to be that. You know what I'm saying? Come on. But, dude, so many bands. I'll tell you, I'll pick out some random ones. Well, because there's all the ones that you know about. But Focus, for instance. Now that's kind of an obscure one, but Hocus Pocus, or what was that song? Yeah. Ackerman was the guitar player. He was the first prog guy that I heard, way before Holdsworth. Holdsworth was in a band called Tempest, which I was into him as well. So, but, I mean, there's so much stuff, dude. I don't know. Bebop Deluxe, Spooky Tooth, Mountain, of course, was a huge influence. Johnny Winter. I mean, I don't know. I could go down the list. We'd be here for a million years. I don't know. Chambers Brothers. I listened to Time, and I wore that record out and jammed along to that thing. Because my rehearsal, my practice thing that I had at home was my dad had a big GE stereo, and I would put the records on, and then I would plug my guitar into the input section of the tape machine, which would distort and come through, and I'd play along with it and watch myself in the mirror and think I was a rock star, and I'd go, yeah, I'm playing. Yeah. And everybody make fun of me. What do you think you're going to be a rock star? Yeah.
Did you ever like Frank Marino, or did you
Oh,
think he was a
Mahogany Rush. I went and saw Mahogany Rush with Queen at Winterland in 1975, Sheer Heart Attack Tour. I talked to Frank some years ago, 5 years ago or so. He was up in Montreal. And I asked him about that show. So I could tell he was not happy. He goes, he hated that tour. And he's a monster, right? That's Zach's whole inspiration is Frank Marino, one of his main ones. And Queen, oh, Jesus. Talk about an influence, right? Yeah, Brian May. ZZ Top. Oh, let me ask. Yes, sir.
Okay, you definitely have a signature sound. And when you're doing your solos and you just do so many great things, but is there certain things that you consider signature, like signature licks, you know, how to do all like this, and I'm gonna take this and put it here later or stuff, or you just, when you're playing off the top of your head live, you just do it?
I could never play anything twice. And I don't have any actual licks, you know, like most guys sit around and go, oh, I can do this or I can do that. No, it's just all like snowflakes. You know, they're there and then they melt and they go away and you have to rediscover them. That's why I feel a little bit, it's kind of a stressful thing, a little bit. Not a bad stress, but every time I play, it's a new, fresh experience and I don't really have those licks to fall back on. So everything is a new thing, you know. Every time I step, whether it's here, or a live show, or a record, or whatever, I have to recreate myself, you know. Or just let it flow, yeah. But I got a couple, you know, I have some things that I do over and over again, of course, but just by muscle memory and default, you know, I do the horizontal vibrato, you know. I did that when I was a kid because I didn't know how to go like that. It hurt. So instead of doing that, I just went like that. And that's how I learned that, you know, just accident, happy accident. You're welcome.
I noticed that when I play better depending on what I eat. Do you have a favorite food that you eat before? I eat raw protein. I eat raw meat and red wine, preferably cheap red wine. Do you have a secret ingredient for Fred?
Oh, shoot, dude. I never got that. That's a fucking crazy question. I don't even know how to absorb that question. I'm going to be thinking about that one all the way home, all 4 hours of the way home. No, well, not really. You know, I eat healthy, so I'm like kind of, you know, vegan, that sort of thing. But I haven't always been healthy. And I used to have these episodes on stage where I would pass out. And I found it was from eating too close to performance. Because as I said, I get wound up when I play. I get really, you know, I have to learn to breathe, and I got to wear loose clothing and stuff like that. And you get under the hot lights. Back then they had the pars, you know, it's like you're a French fry, you know. And I'd wear these rubber suits and shit, you know, I mean, it'd be like, so I'd pass out. I passed out probably like 10 times, even in Dokken, and I have to go to the hospital and stuff like that. And they said it was don't eat 3 hours before you play. So not having much in your stomach, I think, is what I pretty much don't do anymore at all. I don't eat anything heavy anytime close to a show, you know, because I think when you think about it, primitive humans needed to have their senses had to be sharp to survive when they were hungry. They had to succeed at killing something or finding something, so their eyesight, their sense of smell and hearing and so forth had to be acute. And so hunger does that. When you're hungry, your senses are actually less lethargic and more acute and more, they're more finely tuned, so that you can succeed at hunting and surviving, right? So I think it's the same for your playing. You know, if you're light, you're a little, light on your feet, and you're kind of listening and you're reacting quicker. I think that's good for everything, including playing. So there's that. Well, no, you don't want to not eat at all, because then you're all fucking nervous and weak and shit. Yeah, but.
It's not right before playing.
Huh?
Just not before playing. Yeah, 3 hours.
3 hours is 2.5 hours. I just had a big vegan burrito right before I walked out here, but whatever. Yes, sir.
So, what inspires you, or how did you come about writing Without Warning?
Without Warning, well, first of all, the name I found in TV Guide. Remember TV Guide? So I would get a lot of the titles from Dokken songs. If you look at about half those titles, they're a movie in TV Guide. But I think that was a ripoff of something that Randy Rhoads did in Ozzy, I think. And I can't remember the song. One of his famous songs. It was just kind of my version of it, yeah. Everything I've ever written has been plagiarized from somebody else.
Did you get to jam with Randy?
Huh?
Did you ever get to jam with Randy?
Yeah, we played shows together, and we jammed at Musonia sometimes. Yeah.
So to tag on to that question about your influences in the 70s, what did you like coming out of the 80s?
I mean, you're going to get mad at me if I tell you what I liked in the 80s. No, seriously, I should probably keep it to myself. There's people like, what?
We like you like you are.
Disco.
I didn't like, well, honestly, now, Bee Gees are amazing.
Of course.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting me some Bee Gees.
George, in your heyday, who was one of your favorite bands that you played with that you admired and got to hang out with? Like, awesome.
What heyday? You mean 80s? Oh, Dokken days. Hang out with? I get to hang out with Eddie Van Halen in his hotel room on the Monsters of Rock tour a lot. Yeah. We became kind of buds. Not anything I talk about. So it's not an era that I look back on fondly, to be quite honest with you. But I really liked Rat. Of all those bands, I thought Rat was, I enjoyed listening to. I love Rat. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, Priest was like, I still to this day love Priest and wish they would call me up and hire me.
You and Warren
Glenn Tipton, hello. Huh?
You and Warren still stay in touch and hang out?
Yeah, a little bit, He came to a show a few months back. Hung out. Yeah. You guys got a lot of questions. This is crazy. I was thinking like 10 questions.
There's like an industry kind of standard where they say like a record's never done, you like run out of time, essentially.
Yeah.
What is it for you? What puts that stamp of approval of like, you know what, I can accept this as it is?
Well, yeah, no, it's really, I have the opposite view these days because I've been down that road with the Never Ending album that ends up costing, more every single nickel that you have, right? And takes a year or whatever, 6 months or a year and a half. I've done those records, and it's completely wasteful, I think, to the point of being immoral. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, your family and your friend's family and your band members' families have to go without money and their time and their attention because you're so selfish to feel that you have to be that self-indulgent. In other words, if you can't go in and how long did it take the Beatles or Zeppelin to write and record their records? Days, weeks. And those are pretty good records.
On the ones that took you the longest, did you feel the happiest with them?
There's only one record I spent a whole bunch of money on and a whole lot of time that I felt was justifiable, and that was Wicked Sensation. And that was $550,000 and a year plus. But we were firing on all cylinders, and we knew what we wanted, and we had to get it right, and we did. But nowadays, I have a lot of I pride myself in being very efficient with my time, and I enjoy it because I don't labor over something. I just knock it out. I have high standards. I think I know when it's good. I don't allow crap through. I don't think, but play with really good people, get good sounds, have good stuff to start with. That's the thing. I mean, I think I'm getting better sounds now and writing better. Well, I don't know how to say that, but I'm writing and enjoying what I'm writing and enjoying what I'm playing for 2/100th of the cost. I'll do a record, and I get hired to do records. I'll do records in 10 days. Tooth and Nail, I don't remember. That was a long time ago. That was a few lifetimes ago.
What's your favorite song off Tooth and Nail? Besides Tooth.
I don't know. I don't even know what songs are on that record. It's so weird when people talk about old records. Like, it's not like I sit around and listen to them. You know what I mean?
My favorite song is When Heaven Comes Down.
Oh, yeah, that was a good song.
What is a piece of advice you have for the younger guitar players of this generation?
I'd say my one standard default piece of advice for people that really served me very, very well from the 90s on, when you were embarrassed to admit you were a guitar player. It was like you would purposely play really short one-note solos in the middle of songs because it was like, shredding was like an embarrassing thing to do, right? Music, guitar, like my genre of guitar music had regressed to the point where it was hard to find work. So I diversified, started building guitars, working with other endorsers to develop products and market products and promote them, getting involved in all facets of my business, whether I had a natural inclination for it or not, developing a website, just doing everything I could, playing for other people, writing songs for other people, just diversifying, because it's just like investing, you just kind of, you spread the risk over a larger area. So if one thing kind of declines, let's say record sales decline, you can still do touring, you still have your endorsers, and you still have something else, your outside work, let's say. So it kind of evens out the bumps and the peaks and the valleys a little bit in your life. So your financial life isn't so much of this. And you have more options. I think it's just common sense.
Why did the Monsters of Rock thing get cut short?
The tour, or you mean the new one, the cruise?
Part of it. The American tour, it didn't go all over the place, right?
We did 30-something shows. I don't remember.
I thought it didn't come to Southern California, I don't think.
Yeah, we played the Coliseum.
LA.
Pretty big place. The Romans were there back in the day.
Just that one time, right? That one tour?
Oh, yeah, we just did the first one with Metallica.
George, can I hear that ESP with your 13K pickup into that Park 45 through that Phase 90 Tube Screamer climb, 2 SD3 3000s, and a GP16? I'm not sure. I can't see that. I want to hear you play it.
Dude, you're so demanding, dude. You know exactly what you want. I love it. Thank you. All right, guys. We're going to jam.
Is there a brass block on that guitar?
Huh?
15 minutes.
15 minutes of jamming. Okay, here we go. Too many questions, but thank you guys for asking all those. Very interesting. I wish next time we'll talk about you. All right.
Is there a brass block? Is there a brass block on that guitar?
Is there what?
Is there a block on that guitar?
Oh, I need to put one on there. I don't put any of the good. I keep forgetting to. There's so much stuff I want to try on my own guitars. I want to try stainless steel frets, which I have tried. I played with them, but I've never put any on my own guitars yet. But I do love it. They feel great. And yeah, and I'm a big fan of the stone tone blocks and the brass blocks. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get a bass player and a drummer?
Yeah, there we go. Oh, bass. No, the drummer's right here.
Give me some.
Yep. The actual drummer? Yep, that's the actual drummer.
We have the bass player in the building.
There he is, coming up behind. Right there.
Get out there.
Hopefully never gonna vote Dan for this one.
That was dope. That was rad, George.
Not just what I love to do. Just it's like going back into the garage days. You know, it's never changed. Improvising in the moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow. And that was a little bit of Hendrix channeling there. Thank you very much, guys.
So we are going to be doing a signing. So if you guys could all calmly line up by the door, I believe there's a table over there where we'll be doing a signing in just a few minutes.